Within this video, I'm going to dive into the lore surrounding the Flameheart family and why this name is one of Sea of Thieves' most interesting characters so far. Stay tuned. The name Flameheart belongs to two notorious pirates within the Sea of Thieves universe, an adoptive father and son. Whilst reading through the wiki surrounding the characters, it was a little confusing as to who did what, so the aim of this video is to clarify and really dive into the lore surrounding the Flameheart family. Sit back and relax while I dive into the lore of Sea of Thieves with you. In the Sea of Thieves timeline, Flameheart Sr. was around the Sea of Thieves at the same time as Ramsay Singh, the Pirate Lord. However, Flameheart Sr.'s story takes a dark path. We don't know all of the specifics of what happened in order for him to obtain the reputation as one of the most feared pirates of all time. However, you'd have to be pretty ballsy in order to get away with stealing a cursed cannon from the Ferry of the Damned and attaching it to your own ship, the Burning Blade. Something we learn about via the Wanda and Salty story, but more on that later. It's also said that Flameheart Sr. was the one to sink Captain Ramsay, the Pirate Lord's ship, the Magpie's Wing. However, Flameheart Sr. had a soft spot at some point in time as he ended up adopting a child shortly after the boy was born. We currently don't know any of the details as to how this exchange came about, however, it's been teased for a while now that we will find out at some point in the future. The boy was raised by Flameheart Sr. on his estate back in the real world. Given Flameheart's wealth, the boy was to be an upstanding member of the community, with the finest things in life one could have. At the start of the book Tales from the Sea of Thieves, we're introduced to an unnamed man whose journey we start to follow from being a scholar to a pirate. We read through his diary and discover that Flameheart Sr. died comfortably in his sleep while on his estate. This is significant because there is no known way of resurrecting someone if they've died outside of the Sea of Thieves. We discover that this book is being written by Flameheart Jr. without giving us any evidence as to his real name, so a time jump of approximately 20 years has happened within the storyline. Moving on to Flameheart Jr., this story starts out as the previously mentioned unnamed author, and we learn as the author does, how he transitioned from being an upstanding citizen to a pirate via the book Tales from the Sea of Thieves, as the book moves from being a diary to a ship log. We learn that the scholar got nowhere trying to recruit his own crew and finding a ship of his own to travel through the Devil's Shroud and land in the Sea of Thieves. It wasn't until he used his father's influence and ancient coins, currency within the Sea of Thieves, that he eventually found Isidro, a sailor who was able to recruit a crew, obtain a ship called the Silver Blade, and traverse the paths safely and arrive in the Sea of Thieves. Coincidentally, the Insider's cosmetic ship is called the Silver Blade as a way to tie the Insider's set into the lore. This cosmetic set is still currently available. Spend 1 hour a week for 15 weeks to obtain the entire set and some gold along the way. The author is promptly named captain of the crew and gives himself the name Captain Flameheart, paying homage to his adoptive father. Upon arriving in the Sea of Thieves, the crew travel to an unknown outpost where Captain Flameheart talks to an ambassador from the Gold Hoarders who details how their trading company works. Later that night, Captain Flameheart is taken from the captain's cabin by Isidro and directed to an old woman who is described as having netted tattoos that may have been moving and has a mystical feel about her. She explains that she has a secret so valuable that she's been holding onto it since she was a small girl, and says that it is of the utmost importance that they act on it quickly, as the island that holds the treasure might be swallowed by the Devil's Shroud shortly. Captain Flameheart thinks about the offers that he's gotten and decides to accept the old woman's map and heads to the wilds to find the chest. Upon finding it with little to no drama, it is described as being a small, slate black chest that sat surprisingly untouched by the passage of time. Silvery, illegible script scrawled across every surface, betraying no clue as to the contents or its original owner. Red Rosie, one of the crew members and self-appointed quartermaster, was stopped from opening the chest by Isidro, stating that it may be cursed. As such, they decided to keep the chest locked in the brig of their ship. Before dawn the next day, Thomas, the deck boy, woke the crew by ringing the bell, alerting them to an oncoming ship. As Isidro and Red Rosie start firing cannons, Thomas goes downstairs to repair holes in the hull. Captain Flameheart took the wheel of the ship and turns it sharply. Unbeknownst to him, he sets the silver blade directly into the Devil's Shroud. As he comes to the realization that the ship isn't now just sinking, it's dying, he makes it around the ship, grabs all his worldly possessions, and then jumps overboard with the rest of his crew into the freezing sea. The mysterious cursed chest sinks with the ship and is locked away within the brig. However, they're able to salvage some of the supplies and take them back to a nearby island. It's at this point the author claims to no longer be a scholar. His old life is dead. He's now the embodiment of Captain Flameheart. While exploring on the island they retreated to, Flameheart finds the remains of a skeleton who was holding a riddle. The crew decide to figure out what the riddle was, and follow the clues as it takes them down a deep cave. As they make their way through the cave, they come across a chalice that contains a never-ending supply of water. As they're thirsty and have no other option, the crew decides to drink from it. Unbeknownst to them, it's cursed with magic. The crew and Captain Flameheart slowly lose their desire to eat, drink, and sleep, while slowly turning into skeletons. Somehow, Flameheart is able to retain his memories, turning him into a skeleton lord. After an unknown period of time, delirium sets in and Flameheart continues wandering through the cave, eventually finding the end, where he sees another skeleton lord, who introduces himself as the Captain. He said that he heard talk about other skeleton lords, and it's written in the book that he would look forward to crushing their bones given such an opportunity. It is then revealed that it was the Captain who invited Flameheart to the cave via the riddle, leaving the golden chalice for him within the cave, knowing that he would eventually have to drink it and become enthralled by the sweet-tasting water inside. It's at this point in the story that Flameheart explains that only he retained his memory. He and his crew are all dead and disintegrating. However, Captain outlines the upsides, being that he will have eternal life, be able to pursue endless venture, and reap untold rewards, all while never having to stop for dinner. While some humans will be terrified, not all of them will attack on sight. Flameheart decides to ask Captain one question before ending his ship log. Why me? To which Captain replies, you remind me of your father, a fine crewman till he stranded me here. Perhaps you will make an equally fine replacement. In a way, Flameheart Jr. was created by Flameheart Sr. in a few ways. First, Sr. adopted Jr. and raised him as a son. As a child, Jr. was told stories by Sr. of how he would go on adventures, filling Jr.'s head with stories of pirate legends and skeleton lords, and within the start of Tales from the Sea of Thieves book, Flameheart Jr. foreshadows his own transformation by saying how Sr. would, upon his return, sit me upon his knee and regale me with stories of adventures, igniting a burning desire within my chest to see these places for myself. Additionally, had Senior not stranded his old Captain on the island with the golden chalice, Junior would never have been turned. We find out later within Tales from the Sea of Thieves book that Marisa Bell, also known as Diving Bell, she finds the bones of Flameheart on a beach on what we can only assume to be the same unknown island that he was originally stranded on. She comments in a few entries that she noticed that his location moved, but not while she was looking, and that Flameheart must still be a good guy, despite being a skeleton lord. She also locates the cursed chest and was able to decipher some of the merfolk language that had been inscribed on the chest. It read, "Do not open." She takes the chest aboard her own ship, the Plundered Crown, and attempts to return it to the merfolk, who want nothing to do with it. The Plundered Crown come across the Salty Hippo of the Twisted Knife crew and a man named Cole, who appears to know a lot about the cursed chest. He asks her if it's whispered to her yet. As it happens, on day 25, after she heard it whispering, a kraken appeared and almost destroys her ship. She says the chest has changed in its appearance and it now has a face peering through the glass-like surface. The chest is thrown overboard and the kraken releases her ship, following the chest into the depths. This is where the story of Wanda, come Captain Warsmith, takes over. She was so obsessed with Flameheart Sr., she obtained his cursed cannons from the Burning Blade via Salty, and then uses the cannon to create cursed cannonballs. When the outposts refused to sell her cannonballs, she continued working with the cursed metal, and during an experiment where she used poor Salty as a shield, exploded the two of them. This resulted in both of them being turned into skeleton. However, she gets turned into Captain Warsmith and Salty gets turned into a parrot. She then went on and resurrects an army of skeletons, which is how we have skeleton ships on the sea. However, she was also killed through the Cursed Sails storyline, yet her work ship, located on Wanderer's Refuge, has continued to change since her passing. In addition to Wanda obsessing over Flameheart, we also have a box of Wanderer's secrets that has been added to the game via the Forsaken Shores DLC. This relates to Flameheart, as the runes that are engraved on the box itself can be translated using the runes from the first Tall Tales story, introduced with the anniversary event. The box of Wanderer's secrets turns into Grace Morrow, an NPC at Morrow's Point in the Devil's Roar. Grace Morrow was one of the leaders of a two-ship alliance called the Forsaken Alliance. They discovered the Devil's Roar and was the captain of the original Shroudbreaker. Stitcher Jim was also a part of the alliance on the second ship. They found the box of Wanderer's secrets, and it was at this point Stitcher Jim revealed himself to be a traitor and a murderer. He poisoned the alliance, including Grace. However, she had what appeared to be a pastime of drinking strange things, and the poison didn't kill her, it just knocked her about and ruined her face. Stitcher Jim attempted to take the box of Wanderer's secrets back to the Gold Hoarders, but was marooned on an island, where he buried it to come back to later. Meanwhile, the Shroudbreaker was sunk in a battle with Redmaw, a rather nasty megalodon, and Grace ended up on Morrow's Peak, where she set up an outpost and offers 25,000 ancient coins to anyone who finds a box of Wanderer's secrets. We can assume that the box is holding something to do with Flameheart, given the runes. Recently, Duke has been asking pirates to collect various idols and trinkets that have since been seen on Shipwreck Island, specifically in the Black Witch wreckage located within the Wilds. While the ship is previously thought to be paying homage to one of Rare's original games, it may turn out to be something more, especially now that Stitcher Jim is working with a robed stranger who is believed to be Amaretta, a disgruntled Sea Dogs member. It was said by someone on Reddit that the Flameheart story would be explored as an expansion through the Tall Tales. However, I was unable to find any reference of this being the case. In saying that, if we look at the cinematic trailer, we see the Gold Hoarder, the first Tall Tales story that was implemented, which was followed by Flameheart, in conjunction with the box of Wanderer's secrets being introduced and the changes to Wanda's workshop. One would have to believe that the Flameheart story will be the first one added through Tall Tales. But what could we expect from the upcoming Tall Tale? One can surmise that we will find out why Senior adopted Junior, what Captain has planned for Flameheart Jr., what was inside the original cursed chest, what it has to do with Krakens, as well as what's inside the box of Wanderer's secrets. And at least part of the Tall Tale will need to be completed within the Devil's Roar. If the box of Wanderer's secrets does contain the bones of Flameheart, as some people think, we'd have to find out how that came to be. Alternatively, we find out what was so special about the box that it was inscribed with his name using ancient runes. The dev team have said that they find the idea of a skeleton alliance an interesting one, and given Diving Bell's interactions with Flameheart's bones and her comments about him being a nice guy, and the fact that Captain mentions that he wants to crush other skeleton lords, will he be the proverbial bad guy or will he be a good guy? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. That's all for this video. Give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the Aussie accent. Share the video with your friends so we all stay informed. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Hope you're having a lovely day. Till next time.